James Gunn's Superman, better than expected, as well as all the other pop culture news of the day. You're live with the guy at noon central. And I got my producer Nat over here.
Hello.
We're on a new set with new mics. This is the first time we've used USB mics, so there's a good chance nobody's hearing anything right now. I guess we won't really know until after the show. Well, let's get right into it. We got James Gunn. That's the first story here. Natalia, you can say something whenever you want.
Well, the thing is, every time I talk, there's an echo. But yes, the story's up.
So there's an echo when you're talking or no?
Yes.
Okay, so just turn off your mic. Okay, well, just leave it. Just talk with the echo and we'll just work with it today. Okay, so let's go into the first story here.
So James Gunn didn't feel guilty at all leaving MCU to direct for DC.
Okay, yeah, and I don't think he would feel guilty here. They fired him, brought him back, fired him, brought him back. Like, eventually he needed to go somewhere where he's actually going to find a home where they let him implement his vision. And I think this was a good move on his part. That being said, previous to this movie coming out, there was a lot of propaganda from mainstream media sources trying to cancel this movie round and aboutly through political means. So let's go into the article a little bit.
As James Gunn's DCU launches with a premiere of Superman, his Marvel days appear to be in the past for now. Following the director's 2018 ousting from the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise, Gunn admitted he thought my career was over, but luckily he and Peter Safran were tapped to co-head DC Studios in 2022, opening the door for his next superhero project. Toby Emmerich from Warner Brothers at the time came to me. He's like, James Gunn Superman, he recalled on the Armchair podcast. I said, I don't know, man. And he was like, well, what about Suicide Squad? So I came up with an idea. I went and pitched it. They were like, yes, let's do it.
Okay, and let's keep it there for just a second. So previous to this movie coming out, they did not have a lot of screenings early on. And a lot of the stuff that was coming out of this thing was there's a lot of politics shoved into this. Those were fake headlines. And now that people are actually going to watch the movie, independent critics, not mainstream critics, they're saying it's a pretty good movie overall. And there's not a lot of politics in this thing, unlike what was reported previous to this. Okay, let's keep going with the article a little bit. Or not, we can go into this thing if you don't have it.
The same day, Gunn said he got a call from then Disney co-CCO Alan Horn after Marvel Studios boss Kevin Feige campaigned to get the director's job back. I went over to Kevin's house. I went to his basement where he got all his Star Wars figures, like a little museum, and he said, this is amazing. I'm like, yes, this is good, but I have something else first. And oh my God, I didn't remember until now. Kevin goes, ugh, are you doing Superman?
Okay, yeah, so far with Superman, this thing has a little bit of a different feel than other superhero movies. Good. James Gunn seems to have hit the mark here, as well as the main actor in here. He's getting rave reviews, and although I did get on him a little bit, and I said Henry Cavill would have been my choice for this part, I guess everything's going pretty good so far. Now, the mainstream media did try to have a cancellation of this film, so this might affect the opening weekend box office, but I don't think it's going to have a fall off just because it is getting rave reviews from independent media critics such as Culture Casino, WDW Pro, websites like this. Okay, let's go into the next article because it's another James Gunn, or it's another article referring to Superman as well.
So from World of Real, Superman opened to raves. 2 days later, the tone has slightly changed. Yes, this movie again. But there's a noticeable shift since the embargo lifted on James Gunn's Superman just 48 hours ago, and it's worth digging into. Billed as one of the summer's biggest theatrical hits, Superman arrives in theaters this Friday, carrying not only hopes of the new franchise, but the heavy burden of relaunch in DC Studios. Early signs look promising. The film debuted with a 91% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Fast forward 2 days, and that number has dropped to 82%, with signs it might go lower still. For many tracking the rollout, the buzz and the score didn't quite align. Tony Brazier's Metro article, I'm a film critic and Superman's Rotten Tomatoes score doesn't make sense, makes a fair argument, pointing out the inordinate amount of 3 out of 5 fresh reviews. The Hot Mike's John Rocha has pointed out the discrepancies. Even the London Evening Standard describes a high score that's fooling people, but what they miss is a broader story, one that speaks volumes about how perception has shaped in 2025.
And did you get the actual Rotten Tomato scores that are on there right now or no?
I can get them if you want.
Yeah, why don't you grab them real quick and I'll talk about this just so we can kind of see where they're currently at. But it's got pretty good ratings, 82%. If that's the audience score, and then the critic score is 91. Even if it would have went down a little bit, this movie was, like I said in the previous article, plagued with multiple like rumor cancellations from the Snyderverse. People were having this online kind of organic push, probably from the progressive left, to try to cancel this movie. We had a lot of false articles saying there was a ton of politics shoved in this movie. People are watching it now and they're saying this is a non-political movie. And with Superman, this is really a classic piece of Americana. And if they move away from politics, appeal to a moderate audience, this is a real threat to mainstream movie making and stuff like this, because it has been so progressive over the last 10 years or so. Do you have the scores there?
Yes, so Superman, it's 83% on the critics and 95% on the people.
So 3 from the critics and 95 from the people. So it's funny because the critic score is going down and the audience score is going up. Same thing happened with the articles previous. When nobody had seen the movie, the articles raved of this movie, and then when it came out and there was no politics involved, the articles started to transition into hating on this movie, and the critic score is now going down now that the movie is actually out. Well, audiences were very skeptical of this movie. They thought a lot of politics and things of that nature were going to be shoved into this movie. Coming to find out that it's not, the audience score is going up, 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 and I would expect that to continue. I'm also expecting a lot of people didn't buy pre-sales to this movie because of all the propaganda around it, and that's why I don't think it's going to have much of a drop-off from first week to second week. Jurassic Park, I think, is going to be plagued with a major drop-off here. Okay. Why don't we read a little bit more of the article here? Yeah, by the way, I'm sorry if the audio is messed up in any way, shape, or form. I kind of built a new set. We're using USB mics, and yeah, I'll check it after and I'll make adjustments for tomorrow.
We'll probably move back to the other studio tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow's Saturday, on Monday.
No, I'm gonna fix this one until this one works so we can use multiple studios.
Warner Brothers, who views Superman as a make or break for DC Studios, played this one smart. Rather than the usual rollout, they invited a wave of online personalities, influencers, bloggers, YouTubers to early screenings both last week and earlier this week. Simultaneously, they excluded press screenings from several states, including Utah and Colorado. While major markets like LA and New York got their usual press access, sources tell me that over a dozen states were left out altogether and would not get Superman screened for them at all. One of those critics wrote a piece about it. The strategy was simple and effective. Flood the early review pool with voices more likely to offer glowing praise. It worked. Outlets like Discussing Film ran with the headline James Gunn Superman debuts with 91% on Rotten Tomatoes. That tweet alone pulled in 46,000 likes. The narrative was locked in. Superman is a critical hit, except not quite. Yeah, we're really seeing a battle here of mainstream media versus independent media. So it's going to be interesting how this thing evolves, but I think independent media really is starting to have more a hold on the opinions of what's going to affect the masses now. So I would expect this movie to do pretty good overall. Let's go into the next article here. Again, it's another Superman article, and this will round out the Superman coverage. And Superman soars to 21 million in previews. Superman soars to 22 plus in previews, million best year to date, and record for James Gunn, higher than Barbie from the box office. Yeah, so far it's not expecting it as much as expected. People were expecting a much lower box office. I actually still am expecting a lower box office overall for the opening weekend, but I think it's going to make its money back, and I think week to week it's not going to have a major drop off here. Why don't you read a little bit about it? Warner Brothers is seeing 22.5 million all in for previews for James Gunn Superman. Not only is that still the best previews year to date and a record for James Gunn, but it's higher than the previews for last year's Barbie, 22.3 million, 3-day 162 million, and ahead of all the previews for Matt Reeves' The Batman, 21.6 million and 134 opening in 2022. Okay.
I'll keep coverage on Superman because this is kind of an evolving story. The mainstream media turning against Superman, independent media really helping Superman to fly here. It looks like it's going to be very interesting what happens at the box office this weekend. That box office numbers being said, we're going to go into Jurassic Park and a very odd story here, and I think a lot of movies are falling victim to the same thing, and that is going straight to streaming within 30 days or very quickly after theaters. I had previously said the best plan for these movies is to stay in theaters for 3 months if possible, and then give a 6-month window where you can't watch it anywhere, and then you redistribute it onto streaming with another promotional kick. Okay, let's go into this article though.
So, from World of Real, Jurassic World Rebirth heads to digital just 30 days after hitting theaters. Universal has made a habit of rushing their hits to video on demand, even while they're still pulling in strong box office numbers. They waited just 30 days for Wicked and Twisters, and now they're doing it again. Jurassic World Rebirth, now dominating the box office, will hit digital platforms in under 3 weeks, landing August 5th. The film has already broken even for Universal, and to everything from here. So everything from here is profit. At this point, they couldn't care less.
Yeah, I think that's a bunch of garbage. I think it's made its budget back. It made its budget, but not its marketing budget. This thing, the fact that it's still in theaters right now, it's only been out a couple weeks, and they're already talking about its streaming release is kind of nutso to me. What do you think about this? Like, it just came out a week or two ago, didn't it?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah. And now they're already talking about it's going to be on streaming within 30 days. This is a surefire way to kill a movie. Let it go into theaters. Let it get word of mouth if it's a good movie, which Jurassic Park, fair enough, wasn't a great movie. But have a re-release because there's so many toys based around this. Have another promotional push. Maybe that being said, maybe that the toys and all the merchandising, because it's in stores right now, they don't want to have it taken out and then put back. So maybe they want to try to get all that merchandise off of shelves by having it in theaters, and then who hasn't seen it will watch it on streaming within 30 days, hopefully moving that merchandise. Otherwise, that merchandise may get buried in a landfill or put it on 90% discount shelves. Well, what other reasons could you see that they would only, like, literally within 30 days put this thing on streaming?
Well, maybe they just want to bring in more money that way and try to keep people going to their streaming service as well.
Yeah, I was also thinking if you have it in theaters, have it in theaters for 3 months and then put it on streaming for a service fee, so you can pay $5 if you want to watch it, and then eventually have it come free onto the streaming service. That in between of where you could buy it on streaming after it was in theaters, but it's not fully free to stream, kind of gives it a DVD sale kind of market there. So now you've created 3 markets: the streaming market, the DVD or the purchase streaming market, and then the in-theater market as well. And then on top of that, you'll have all the advertising for all 3 of those distribution centers there.
And Rafa is here, and he says hello. So hello, Rafa.
I'll ask him how is the audio doing, because we were super concerned about the audio today.
Yeah, so he first asks, will you go to watch Superman?
Yeah, now I'll go watch Superman. I mean, they didn't have a lot of pre-showings of Superman, and it had a lot of propaganda in the mainstream media talking about how political this was. Apparently, a lot of these were misquotes, and our magazines like Variety were completely fabricating these stories about James Gunn and how this thing was going to be political. It looks like it's completely non-political. Reviewers that I really trust, like Culture Casino. Also, Tim Pool went to go watch this, who usually doesn't review movies, and he said this thing was completely non-political. Everybody seems to like it. Seems to be like a solid movie. I probably will go watch this movie, but then again, we just haven't had time because you were out of town. I wanted to go watch F1. If I had to pick between F1 and Superman, I would have said F1. But now with the reviews coming out of this, out on Superman, I'm kind of wanting to go watch Superman.
I mean, I've never been super into Superman. I was always more of a Marvel person, but I mean, I'd go watch it. I am still more interested in watching F1 as well. But Rafa also says, guys having microphone issues. I know, I'm trying to fix them. He says when he stops talking and then restarts, volume is really low and then it gets back to normal and Nat sounds with echo. I know it's because I've been muting him and trying to unmute me every time I have to talk, but he tries to get me to start talking quickly. So then when I don't do the switch fast enough, the echo comes in.
All your drama into the audience there.
Well, I'm also trying to explain so you can kind of wait a little bit before you talk so I can restart your microphone before you start talking.
I'm going to keep going how we are for today's episode, and then I'll fix it tomorrow.
But thank you for letting us know, Rafa. Thank you for letting us know, Rafa.
We'll run off cabled. Okay, let's go into... I'm also kind of wanting to support Superman just because the mainstream media was deceptively trying to cancel this movie by saying there was politics shoved into this thing, making up fake articles. So I would really like to see an independent push for Superman's box office here. Okay, let's go into the next. Oh, did you read anything on Jurassic Park Rebirth yet?
Okay, read no.
That because I had a couple notes here I wanted to talk about.
Okay, hold on then. Yeah, no, I did read.
Well, read a little bit more. Okay, so I was also going to say Jurassic Park Rebirth. They try to really hype up with its opening weekend, but it had 6 days. It wasn't a 2 or 3 day release. When you break it down to the actual days on market, the 2022 release of Jurassic Park Dominion or Jurassic World Dominion clocked in at almost the exact same box office. So now we're seeing what a Jurassic Park movie would typically do at box office now. What Jurassic Park or Jurassic World Rebirth and Dominion both did, that's kind of where a Jurassic Park movie is these days. Also, that being said, the budget on Jurassic World was huge. Way too big than you need. Godzilla Plus One actually showed you can make a really cheap movie that's really good that involves dinosaurs and special effects and things like this. Movies need to move towards lower budget with the money much more smartly spent. Okay, let's go into Wednesday now. The season 2 trailer.
So from Deadline's Wednesday season 2 trailer, Enid's demise teased as death lingers over Nevermore Academy. Do you want me to read into it?
Yeah, read a little bit.
Wednesday Addams, Jenna Ortega, returns to Nevermore Academy in the trailer for season 2 of Netflix's Wednesday, revealing some mysterious and kooky plot details.
Well, I know you don't like Jenna Ortega. Especially in this particular role. This is kind of the role that brought her into the mainstream, is the zeitgeist. She really needs a season 2 of this movie right now. What happened recently, she was in that movie with The Weeknd. I completely forgot the name, but it was a horrible movie, horrible reviews. The Weeknd should have never acted. And the fact that she was in there would have really hurt her career if people actually watched the movie. Lucky for her, nobody really watched the movie. She needs to go back to what was working so she can kind of reset her career and not have 2 big flops in a row. And then make another debut in a movie that is maybe not so risky with a first-time actor-director like The Weeknd.
Well, for me, I don't like Jenna Ortega because she pretends to be a Latina when she actually isn't, and I actually don't think she's that good of an actress. I didn't watch Wednesday because for me, the original Addams Family will always be the only Addams Family, but it's a series, not a movie. But yes, I mean they're probably going to keep pumping it out because it was a really big success for Netflix, regardless of my opinions on it.
Okay, and let's go into the box office takeaways from 2025. And the headlines kind of say it all here, but I'll go into it a little bit as well. Oh, I did. Oh, let's go into the box office and then we'll go back to HBO, I guess.
Box office 2025 takeaways: PG movies score, superheroes remain shaky, and budgets are just too high. From Variety. What does it take to get people back to the movies? So far, the answer seems to be blues-loving vampires, a cuddly alien, and a life-size block world. With crowd pleasers like Sinners, Lilo and Stitch, and a Minecraft movie, the box office is showing signs of life after a moribund start to the year. Revenues are up 15% from 2024 when Inside Out 2 and Dune Part 2 were packing multiplexes. But before Hollywood starts patting itself on the back, there's a catch. That figure is still down 26% from 2019, the last pre-Bad Times year, an indication of the devastating toll that the Bad Times has taken on the movie business. Instead of trimming costs, studios are producing blockbusters that have grown exponentially more expensive, with budgets routinely nearing or eclipsing the 200 million mark. That means films like Thunderbolts and Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning can earn massive amounts of money yet still struggle to break even. When one of these films hits, it can be a money minting machine, earning billions in ticket sales, merchandising.
There's no reason for movies to have these huge budgets. I had just mentioned Godzilla Plus One. If Godzilla Plus One would have went into theaters with even a bigger marketing budget, meaning the movie was extremely cheap to produce, put a lot more money into the marketing, that movie would have actually blown away box offices. These movie studios are really wary to put big marketing budgets into small production movies. I think that's what needs to happen, because overall, if you have a movie that costs $15-20 million or even $40 million to make, and then you have a smaller but decent budget of $40 or $50 million, you can really get that movie out to the zeitgeist with an original script and an original movie. And that's what people kind of want. What they're saying here on what works and what doesn't, I don't think they're really zeroing in on what's working. And what's working here is traditional movie making without politics and new ideas such as Sinners and movies like this. Okay, and let's go into AMC theaters offering 50% off on Tuesday and Wednesday tickets.
So yes, from Variety, AMC theaters to offer 50% off tickets on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I believe they do that here in Mexico, and they used to do that in Canada, I think, as well. But AMC Theaters, the world's largest cinema chain, is slashing ticket prices on the slowest days of the week for moviegoing. Beginning on July 8th in the US, AMC will offer 50% off movie tickets on Tuesdays, in addition to the previously announced 50% off Wednesdays for those part of the AMC Stubs Rewards program. This replaces AMC's prior Discount Tuesday deal with offered $5 tickets for Stubs members. In addition to half-price admission, AMC is discounting its small popcorn and drink combinations on those days.
Yeah, and I think this is a good idea. Had that card thing, didn't we, for $5 movie tickets? And yeah, that was great if you knew about it. The problem was nobody knew about it, and then there was a whole process to go sign up for that thing. We told some friends about it. They got it as well. It was a great deal. $5 movie tickets.
But that was in Canada. It wasn't in the US. And
it's similar offers in a lot of these markets. And I'm going to get to the point here in just a second. Why don't you go?
I have to manage the microphone, so keep talking.
Okay, I forgot what I was going to say. Why don't you just make a comment here?
Well, I think because I would love to know how much 50% off actually is, if it's more or less than the $5 they used to be offering, because it might actually be not such a good deal if you look at how it used to be.
That's more than, it's about 70%. A $5 ticket is 70% off. Oh, was that it? Oh, okay. So 50% off is much better because it appeals to people are just walking by the theater. They can throw signs outside the theater. So right at the ticket counter, you can get the 50% off rather than attempting to having to sign up for this special Tuesday, Wednesday, $5 ticket prices, things like this. You're going to bring a lot more people into the theater with 50% off at the register. So they do this in other countries already. That's been tested in Canada as well as Mexico, and it does work well. Okay, let's go into the next article here. And Fox sees earlier than expected sellouts to MLB and All-Star games and commercials. Okay, and I guess I'll read the article here.
Well, no, I'm reading it. I just had to adjust my mic. So yes, from Variety, they say advertiser demand for the Major League Baseball. So you have to be a little bit more patient. I'm trying to do 5 different things here. For the Major League Baseball's All-Star Game has been so intense, even the commercials that might never air are getting snapped up. Fox expects to run close to 80 commercials across its July 15th broadcast for the Midsummer Classic, scheduled to take place this year in Atlanta, but many ads tied to the game elements that can be predicted, like pitcher changes or extra innings, are also spoken for, says Mark Evans, Executive Vice President of Ad Sales for Fox Sports, during a recent interview.
This this is big because I keep saying this every time we talk about live sports. It's the one thing that is key. It will keep driving viewership. If it's not live, people aren't going to watch it live. Therefore, the advertising sales aren't as, you can't charge as much. This is why when Netflix did Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, and all of these UFC or MLB properties, they're worth a lot because people will flock to the network or the streaming service to watch it live. And they will sit through the commercials. That's the thing. People just fast forward through the commercials otherwise.
And do you want to talk about the HBO brand rebrand or no? Because we skipped over that.
That's fine. We can just skip it. Because we're having so much audio and I need to check the visual issues because it's the first time in set, we'll cut it a little bit short today. Next. Yeah, let's go to the next story here.
So from the AP, a click to cancel rule intended to make canceling subscriptions easier is blocked. Of course it is. A click to cancel rule, which would have required businesses to make it easy for consumers to cancel unwanted subscriptions and memberships, has been blocked by a federal appeals court just days before it was set to go into effect. The Federal Trade Commission's proposed changes, adopted in October, required businesses to obtain customers' consent before charging for memberships, auto renewals, and programs linked to free trial offers.
Yeah, and this was a great idea, and I really went through. The government was trying to step in and have a button click to cancel. And I was signed up for a lot of different services, not just streaming services, but photo editing services, video editing services, just all kinds of subscriptions. And on some of these subscriptions, it's nearly impossible to figure out how to cancel. I'm having to ask Grok. I'm having to go onto Google. How do you actually cancel these services? A lot of the time, there's not anything on their website where you can directly cancel. You have to actually email them, wait for their email back, then give a confirmation email that you want to cancel. It can be a process, and that only benefits the company. What do you think about this?
Well, I still have not canceled our HBO subscription because I keep forgetting, and then there's things that I do want to watch. But I think a lot of people are only, like, a lot of the numbers that the streaming services give out are a lot of people that just literally forgot to cancel, or they just wanted the free trial. And then people just change emails, and then they keep getting the free trials anyways. But then if you forget for one of those emails, because you have to input your credit card, then you're being charged maybe for the even same service twice or three times just because you forgot.
Yeah, I completely agree, man. This was such a good idea, and this got blocked. I mean, they had billions of dollars on the line from all these streaming services. This is completely customer manipulation here. At minimum, you should have something on your website which you can easily find to cancel the membership, and that's not always the case, but I would have loved to see it directly on the app and very easy to do. And with the economy kind of struggling right now, if they made it too easy to cancel, I would see millions upon millions of people canceling a lot of these services. We've talked about people just having too many streaming services. And like you said, people are just forgetting to cancel other ones.
And especially for people that might be older or don't really understand, that's when it gets hard to find out how to cancel. I mean, it sometimes takes you to one page and then asks you if you're sure, like 8 different times. And then by the time you think you canceled, you actually haven't. So I think it's also, especially for people that are not very tech savvy, scamming in a way. It's kind of getting scammy in a sense. And also Pam Empson says, hi guys, hope you're having a good day, and also your sound is okay. That's because I've been trying to manage it and trying to get Guy's microphone to sound properly.
She's doing a ton of things over here, and she's giving me hand signals, stop, no, go. So these USB mics, we're having a tough time right now. Usually we hardwire the mics into an interface and into the computer, but it's a new set, so we'll figure it out over the next week. This week is going to have a lot of I'd say stumbles in the new set.
So I mean, this week is over, it's Friday, but the main issue is that the main issue is that when I'm talking, he can't talk, and when he talks, I can't talk. Otherwise, there's an echo, but he has to wait.
Okay, so let's go into the final article here. And this would have been normally more in my economics political podcast at night. That being said, I thought I'd just put it on here. Okay, why don't you read the article here?
Bitcoin tops 118,000 for the first time and keeps going. Bitcoin has reached an all-time high, surpassing 118,000 as a flood of money moves into spot.
Okay, and I just kind of wanted to read this headline because there is a lot of weird information coming out about Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is being pushed heavy on social media apps, on YouTube, things like this. I was watching somebody that is really a sleuth and going into the Bitcoin markets, and a lot of these mainstream companies are trying to put their assets into Bitcoin. They're saying they're buying millions upon millions of Bitcoin, yet the Bitcoin price isn't going up. I know the article says it's at a high where Bitcoin should be based upon BlackRock and all these other companies buying up millions of Bitcoins. It should be through the roof right now. So there's some kind of market manipulation going on with Bitcoin. Just because it's at an all-time high. I mean, I really don't know what to think. There's so much weird information coming out. Somebody calculated all the open disclosures that these companies supposedly bought over 1,000 Bitcoin up to 1 million Bitcoin, and they can't find out what markets these were actually bought in. It seems like these companies are claiming to buy Bitcoin, saying they have receipts for these Bitcoin, but the markets aren't reflecting the actual taking control of these Bitcoins. So I don't know. And the market is definitely not reflecting the true authentic price of Bitcoin. This is much like the silver market is highly manipulated within on the global market, because silver is actually used for technologies. Because it's used for technologies, governments around the world artificially deflate the price of silver, and it should be worth a hell of a lot more. But that being said, I just wanted to say something weird is going on with the Bitcoin markets. As more comes out, I'll talk more about it. Okay. Well, that's it for today. Sorry.
And Pam Epson says, I'm in the UK, by the way. So good evening, I believe, to you, because it's later there. But thank you for joining us, and let us know how living in the UK is like right now, because that would be interesting.
Oh, yeah. We talk a lot about, there's certain regions I like to cover, which is Ireland, the UK, Germany. That's in Europe. Then I like to cover South Africa, Canada, Mexico, and the United States. That being said, man, Ireland, the UK, and Germany are really heading into like free speech is starting to become non-existent over there. Or at least that's what it seems like, based upon headlines in the media arresting people for memes and other hate speech laws, things like that. That being said, we do have a political show at night. We talk more about those kinds of subjects. Thanks for tuning in.
We have another comment. Rafa says gold spiked crazily in the past few days.
Yeah, I was watching something extremely interesting about gold, and gold could go through the freaking roof. There is a sleuth that got a hold of the Fed's documents about accounting, and then he went into the training manual. I'll talk more about it on tonight's episode on our political channel, but it was very interesting. There may be a scheme to reevaluate gold. So that would give the United States access to $5 trillion worth of more capital based upon their gold reserves if they can reevaluate gold through the gold bond market. Very interesting. It's completely legal. It would be one way to really give the Trump administration and the U.S. a lot more breathing room when it comes to their national debt. So a lot of people are suspecting that the U.S. may reevaluate gold or reevaluate gold bonds. So I'll talk more about that maybe on tonight's episode.
And yes, it's not a channel, it's a show that we do called Not in the Guy Live. And Fletcher Williams, hello, says smash the like, make sure you're subscribed. Thank you so much for the reminder. We always forget to say it. And Pam Epson says it's lovely and hot here. Oh, it's rainy here in Mexico City. Yeah, guys, it's not good here for that, but we will get through it, hopefully. And good luck to you, because it is one of the reasons why we left Canada. I am from Mexico, but it's one of the reasons why I decided to return back here. And now they're trying to censor us here too, so fun times. And Pam Epson also says, hi, Fletcher Williams, just trying to support these guys. Good to see you here. Thank you for all your support, and also to Fletcher Williams and Rafa.
Yeah, and there's a lot more freedom through chaos in Mexico. Even if they pass the laws, it's really hard for the Mexican government to implement a lot of things here. In Canada, everything is so organized and so structured. When they set a law, they really implement it from the top down with authoritarian control. That being said, I really like Mexico so far, and I'm happy we moved. We do, especially being YouTubers, we do have a lot. It feels like we have a lot more freedom to speak freely.
For now, but one of the things that they do want to pass is a Telecommunications Act, which would essentially give them permission to restart or like start a new program from the government to control media. And at one point, they also wanted and suggested that they could track you using your cell phone or your devices and know exactly where you are. But again, because they're not very efficient.
We'll go more into that on tonight's show. Okay. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please do so. Sorry for any audio or visual issues today. We're trying a new set and a lot of different technologies. Behind me, some of these panels were falling down just before the show, so I was hanging them back up. And we'll see you tomorrow. Adios.
Thank you. We'll see you at night. We don't give the time because we don't know fully what time it is. Have a good day.